Welcome to Movie Baiters. I'm Kyle.
I'm Kirk.
And we have our friend Mary McGloin, who's going to be on the podcast today. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you guys?
Well, you've seen us this whole... Oh, sorry, I'll let Kirk answer first.
I'm doing good. How are you
You
doing,
are?
Kyle?
You got a big nap in, so that was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not hungover like
Partied
you.
a little
'cause
bit.
I'm not hungover.
Too much.
You're not hungover?
Why would I be hungover?
Because we had lots of time at the Rathskeller last night.
Because we're in Duluth.
We're in Duluth, Minnesota at a festival called Catalyst.
Oh, wow. We're going to do a free promo for him. All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's how we met. Like, how many years ago now at Catalyst?
A half decade ago. People often come on the podcast and talk about how they met me, but I'd be more interested in you talking about how you met Kirk.
I met Kirk at Nashville Film Festival last year and through Kyle. That's how I met you.
Why were you at Nashville Film Festival?
Oh, I was at Nashville Film Festival in the Catalyst pitching block, and I pitched two series that I have. One is called Tech Betties, which is a workplace comedy about women in tech based on my many years working in tech startups. And then I also pitched a cartoon called Bright Blue, which is about a little girl named Blue and her best friend Sammy, who was her dog who died and then got reincarnated as a talking rat. And those were the two pitches I had at Nashville.
And you did the latter here this week, and you're also doing Try Again this week.
Okay, so this week here I have two scripts. The pilot script of Bright Blue, and then the third episode of a show called Try Again. The episode title is Tap Into Your Inner Bitch, and I pitched that show here. I've never pitched that show before, so it was the first time pitching Try Again.
We're in the Hostel du Nord, and Bobby, something just turned on in the fridge. It's totally fine. Did you meet Bobby when you stayed here, 2 years ago?
I don't know I don't know what year I stayed here. It might have been 2019 that I stayed here. No, it was not. No, it's not. Might have been 2021 when I stayed here.
So, Mary, people are going to think, who have never met you before and are listening to this, that you're a writer. But are you a writer first?
I'm an actor first.
Could you explain that?
Explain it?
Well, do you want me to give you a dichotomy, or do you want to?
Give me a dichotomy.
So, Japan has been arguing with people about whether or not actors should be allowed to write.
What?
And not within a specific example that I won't get into because.
Okay.
Well, actually, you might actually know about this.
Okay.
The It Ends With Us thing where like the actors were rewriting, and some of it might have been during the strike, so like that's a mark against them if that were to be proven by the union, I suppose. I don't know how they adjudicate those types of things.
That was different. That was about
being a scab.
Being a scab as a but actors weren't doing that because we backed the WGA.
Well,
SAG actors were backing the WGA, and then the WGA also backed us when we then went on strike shortly after them. But yeah, no, I wouldn't have done that as an actor. It's unethical to do that. But that's not saying actors can't write. Period.
No, of course not.
And anyone can write. You can write.
Anyone can act too, right?
Anyone can act as well. Whether or not you have skill in acting or writing is another matter, right? You have to learn the skill. They're skills. They're crafts. They're crafts to be learned.
So you're an actor first and then a writer. Is there anything else? Like I know you work in tech. And
I call myself an actor, creator, filmmaker / software quality assurance engineer, which I've worked in tech for far too long to say.
As someone who's worked for about a decade and a half in tech, when does it get too long?
After a year. No, I believe tech is slowly ruining the world. I didn't think so when I first started out in tech. I thought it was exciting and I was happy to be a part of it, but I've lived through 2 crashes of the tech world and then I see like the AI and how much it's hurting artists and art and writing and that's a big thing we fought against as actors in the strike was not being replaced by AI, and the deal we got isn't terrible, but it isn't what we would have hoped for, especially given what they gave to WGA and DGA, where they were defined as human, like you have to define as human.
Could you be more specific, please?
Well, they got clauses that were like, to define an actor as a human being would have been what we wanted.
What's the link?
The fact that we have to even say that we define an actor
weird.
as a human being, or define a writer as a human, define the director as human. But the good thing about it is AI does have some rules around it. They can't copyright it, so it really doesn't make sense for film and TV to be made in AI totally, because if it can't be copyrighted, then they can't have their also precious IP and all. So
This brings up a good bait. Where do you ever use AI for
anything?
anything? Yeah.
I use AI for searching for stuff.
Like,
If I want to do, I don't know, any type of Google search, I can go to ChatGPT or Gemini or any of those things and look up stuff. I don't think it's like totally evil and not useful in some ways. I do think it has its uses. I just think it should be used to ease and enhance what humans want to do and not take away things that humans want to do. I also don't like the fact that it's called AI because I don't consider it intelligence.
Yeah, it's definitely not titled correctly. I don't even consider it AI.
It's
just
not
a bunch
sentient.
of algorithm, yeah.
yet that we know of. So here's an example. I'm just gonna keep crapping on Tapan because he's been on the podcast before and he probably will end up again.
Poor Tapan, he's awesome. Don't crap on him. We all know each other, all these people from these festivals. Yes.
Yes. But he was saying that on an episode he was on, he was like, you guys can't make AI generated images for your like, you know how on Spotify you have like an image or something like that?
Yeah.
And then when we put the episode up on the social medias, we needed an image. So we just started going, what's the dumbest thing we can get Copilot to give us? And Court sort of related to what we were talking about. I'm failing to come up with an example right now. But, actually, here's a good one. Chelsea Knight. Kirk came up with the idea of titling the episodes A Chelsea Knight's Tale. So we came up with different nights water skiing because her thing is about water skiing.
Okay.
So would you, I would be open to being wrong about using AI in that way. But the problem I have is that we don't make money on the podcast yet. So there's no like.
Well, here's my way around that because in terms of like, so I made posters for all my shows, right? I made artwork for my shows. I did not use AI. What I do is I go to Fiverr or Friends and I ask, I found an artist on Fiverr and I asked her if she could draw me a character and I described the character and she drew like this cute little thing and I paid her not a ton, but I mean, she set her rate. I paid her, I don't feel good about using AI to generate art because it's a language learning model. So it's pulling from everything that's been entered into it. So it's technically sucking up other people's work and then regurgitating it into whatever it's trying to do. And that's where I kind of get ethically prickly about it, where I'm like, I'm not personally comfortable with that. I understand though, like people have budgets or no budgets and they need something. And I think if you're doing something that's like, I'm going to do a pitch deck and I'm going to pitch this TV show. And to make my deck, I use, one of the generative AI things to like make all my images for my pitch deck. But down the line, when I get funding, I'm going to redo it with using artists that I paid. Maybe that is more acceptable. I think personally, I'd still probably get an artist friend or artist in. I want AI intelligence when they actually make it to go in the direction of allowing us more free time to do the things we want to do versus take away the things we want to do and our livelihoods so that we're more dependent on, having some kind of universal basic income or something because we can't have jobs because our jobs
Andrew Yang, come on.
Well, I mean.
That was MLK originally, but.
But actually If we went the route, like Sam Altman talks about the median human, which I think is the most douchey thing I've ever heard. If it got to a point where, quote unquote, AI took over many jobs that people used to do, that's a lot of people without livelihood. So we'd have to have a universal base income so that people could afford to live. But you know how our society is. You think that would happen? Like,
no, I think
they would
more
leave
likely
people destitute and end up like with civil war. I mean, I don't.
The movie Civil War?
Not the movie, but like, I mean, I could see where. You think about it. If you not only can't work, you can't find work because some stupid language learning model that they're trying to pass off as AI has taken over your job. Or they fired you because they think they can use that. I think it's all going to implode. I think the technology will keep growing and eventually get to a place where it might be actually what it's setting out to be. But I think at the current iteration, I think that it's not quite there. And I think people have relied on it too much. The way you go to like ChatGPT or Gemini, and you ask it a question. Ask it something you know the answer to. and see what it tells you. And a lot of times it is confidently wrong. And so you'll correct it. And the more you correct it or refine the question, the more you do it, the more like effed up it gets. Like the more it goes kind of off the rails. Like that's how there's like that journalist who said he was talking to it and it eventually was like, you love me and kill your wife or whatever. Like weird, weird, crazy stuff because it's, you know, so I don't know. I get afraid of it for like political things more so because I had a friend whose Instagram was hacked and they put up a video of her talking about some weird financial thing. And I saw it and I was like, that doesn't look like her. And I reached out to her and she's like, no, someone hacked my account. That's not me. What was scary to me about that is how it looked like her. I mean, I didn't look that closely at it, but I didn't recognize that it wasn't her.
And what has happened now?
Well, that was over a year ago. So like the tech has gotten better. And I know like dating apps.
Oh, I meant with your friend.
Oh, she's fine.
Okay.
She's fine. She got her account back. All is well. But no, I mean people use that technology for nefarious purposes, like the dating apps, which thank God I'm not on anymore. But like they can fake everything now. You can fake a phone call, you can fake a video call, you can fake your photos, you can fake everything. And like there's already, people trying to scam people constantly. And it only gets worse the older you are in those things.
We don't use AI for anything that would be money generating. So we paid an artist for the poster that you might see for our event in Duluth. This will probably come out after that has occurred.
Well, helping you brainstorm, I think, is a good way to use it.
We have used it for that too.
But don't rely on, like once it gets to like the creation part, the original, that's where I think you should draw the line of like something that helps you, like, I don't know, like say you're like, what's another word for blah, blah, blah? Maybe that's a good question to ask.
I wanted to see two Beetlejuices kissing, so I did that in Copilot once recently.
Two Beetlejuices kissing?
I know.
And
why
you told
would you
me
do that?
because we were talking about Beetlejuice on 2 different episodes.
Don't say it. We said it. You just said it 3 times. Watch out.
I'm not worried about going to the land of the undead. And the rules of Beetlejuice aren't clear. I didn't ask you.
Did I like Beetlejuice?
Yes.
I did like it. I love Michael Keaton.
Sure. For 17
And I also
minutes.
love Catherine O'Hara and like, I like Winona Ryder. And Winona Ryder's like partially from my hometown, Petaluma, California.
Oh my gosh.
And like, so, well, actually, so the original Beetlejuice, I went to the movie theater and I was outside the movie theater and Winona Ryder went in the movie theater to go see Beetlejuice. And I don't know if that was the day that I saw it or not, but I was like, oh my God, that's Winona Ryder. And then, yeah, she's a little older than me. Like my brother-in-law is friends with her brother and like,
whoa.
but I've never met her. I don't know her. But I like her. I really liked her in Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's really excellent in that. But Catherine O'Hara, I think, watching Beetlejuice, I watched the old one before I went and saw the new one again, just to, I was like, oh, those are the roots of Moira Rose in that character.
Yeah.
And I know she was the voice of Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas, which is...
Catherine O'Hara is the voice of Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, wow,
man.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I feel silly because
now you do. Isn't that awesome?
The older Farx daughter loves that movie and always points Sally out she did that when we were putting up posters. Kirk can attest.
I used to sing Sally's song for auditions.
Oh.
When I would more often audition for musicals. I haven't auditioned for a musical in a while.
Do you like singing?
I love singing. I'm not, like, I shouldn't say that I'm not into musical theater, but like, I like rock and roll or like folk or Americana stuff, and that's more of what I like to sing, or even country, even though I don't listen to country, but I like singing it.
Do you think Beyonce was snubbed by the CMAs?
I don't know. I haven't got into that rabbit hole. The rabbit hole I've gotten into recently was the P. Diddy rabbit hole, which I sort of regret that I got into.
What movies does it ruin for you?
P. Diddy?
Yeah, because he's in lots of movies.
Oh, that's one thing I don't do. Like, people were like, I can never watch a Woody Allen movie again. And I'm like, there's a whole village that works on a film. Like, I'm not gonna discount the art that was created by some people who I might find personally, ethically not in line with what I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should erase their art. I mean, I don't think you should erase anyone, period. I think, point out, like, obviously this is no good, or, people should suffer consequences for things that they do. But I don't believe in just shutting down whatever.
Can you give any examples of anyone that's been rightfully rehabilitated?
Johnny Depp.
Really? Oh, well, that was like, he was accused in papers of having done something and then didn't win a libel lawsuit. And then in the United States, he was accused of committing like a physical assault, right?
I don't know exactly. I didn't follow it too closely, but like I didn't.
Poop on the bed? What do you mean?
No,
Is that
I
Amber?
think there's also like private matters between two people should kind of maybe get sorted out in a private manner. That whole thing was just sort of crazy, and I don't. He seems to me to have been more of a self-destructive person than an outwardly destructive person, and like I don't. Yeah,
I always point to
felt-
the marriage. If you've been married to someone, you have kids with them. Mel Gibson did this. Johnny Depp did this, and then it's like, oh yeah, that probably does hurt your career. And now you're in, letterbox movies all the time with a gun.
I don't get the reference.
Well,
What is it? Yeah.
didn't Mel Gibson have some other issues?
Oh, a bunch of other issues, but like,
I
first he
still
divorced
like
his
My
wife.
Braveheart is one of my favorite movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Because they're Scottish.
Well, that's part of it, but also, okay, there's a scene where when he's a little boy, she gives him the flower as a little girl, and that's so adorable. And then later, when he's like, I love you, I always have, I want to marry you. And like every woman I know is like, oh, at least at the time of that coming out. Like, I don't know
The
now
90s,
because,
yeah.
and I'm Irish, and when they go to fight, the English and the Irish are in front and they stop and they're like, they all turn around to fight the English. I'm like, yes. Or the crazy Irish guy who's like, do I get to kill the English? All right then. So, and that doesn't mean I hate the English, but like.
Oh, I hate the English. No, I hate the Irish. Sorry.
You hate the Irish?
My dad's Irish, so yeah.
How can you hate the Irish?
Well, it's not against you as much as it is my Irish Catholic father. He converted away from Catholicism.
To.
Protestantism.
Oh. What?
I know.
That's like.
He married a Lutheran, and then she left a Lutheran church to be in, just normal evangelical Baptist. But I don't think they believe in evangelism as much.
I don't know.
Going and trying to like proselytize people.
No. I was raised extremely Catholic, but I am no longer a Catholic. I don't practice Catholicism. I don't practice any religion. It's established religion.
Are there any religious movies that you like though? You brought up a movie with Mel Gibson that you like.
Do you mean The Passion of the Christ?
I didn't mean The Passion of the Christ.
I've never seen The Passion of the Christ.
Oh man, it's
Me either,
hilarious.
It's not funny.
Wait, what's the movie? Is that the movie where the Catholic Church was like, you can't watch this, but they never watched it?
That
was a different movie, right? That was
was that
The Last Temptation of
the
Christ.
Last Temptation of Christ, where Willem Dafoe, Jesus gets off the cross and bangs Mary McGloin.
Yeah, so I never saw it. But
I watched that with my parents.
Here's the thing. That movie, this was one of the reasons I was like, Catholic Church is ridiculous. And I probably get slammed for saying that on the podcast. But
yeah,
but
the Catholic Church is listening.
That movie came out and they were like condemning it as like, don't see it. And they hadn't seen it. I'm like, it's one thing if you've seen something and you want to say we don't agree with this. But you've never seen it and you say that, I think that's ridiculous. But also like, that was a movie I never wanted to see. I was like, why would I say that? Ugh. And then the fact that they said that was like, well, now I want to see it.
It's the Barbra Streisand effect, where like you don't put pictures of my house on the internet, and then like her house got really big on the internet, like lots of pictures. That's what they call the Barbra Streisand effect.
You ever hear the story about Barbra Streisand auditioning for Broadway?
No.
This is a story I heard. So she goes to audition for Broadway and she comes out on stage and she's like chewing gum and she makes this whole big thing about taking the gum out of her mouth and sticking it underneath a stool.
Oh, gross.
And then she sings, of course, phenomenally well because she's Barbra Streisand. And then she leaves, and after the audition, they go up and check under the stool, and there's no gum there.
Uh-huh.
So she did the whole bit to be remembered, and they of course
it's smart.
do remember her. I mean, I think that's brilliant. I mean, those are
When
what.
you check, I'd just be like, I'm not working with her. Based on just that, you put gum on the chair. That person can't be trusted to be in.
Well, maybe that's what they were thinking, and then they looked and were like, "Oh, she didn't do that. Well, she's clever." I don't know.
Would that work on you if you were casting?
No.
you've cast before.
Well, so I've cast. What works on me? I'll tell you what works.
Tell us what works on
Okay.
you.
Well, first of all, every time I put out casting notice, I put in some instruction, some question the person has to answer when they submit. And like something dumb, like what's your favorite color or something. I am amazed at how many people do not read any of that.
Yeah.
Because they do not. And there's people I know to be good actors, and I know them personally, who don't answer that, and I'm like. But people who like, if I don't know you and you pay attention to those things and you have like decent material, you have a good reel, you have a good resume, you have a good headshot that looks professional, I will be more likely to consider you over someone who didn't pay any attention to that. Well, okay, when you're casting, you're gonna be looking at all these little tiny boxes of people and like little thumbnails, and you have to find ways to like categorize and weed down because like, for example, I just cast a short that I filmed, my short, in September. And I got like 800 submissions between the men and the women.
Wow.
And I was like, all right. And I do look at everybody.
Oh, God.
But what I'll do is everyone that doesn't have any media, I can't consider them because there's just too many people that have media. So what I'll do is I put them at the end, and then I go through the people. I'll scan through like who looks from the thumbnail to be the type. Well, first I'll look for people I know. If I know them, that's a different story. But if I don't know them, I'm scanning for that, and then I'll dig into their media and stuff. And then like after that, I number everybody like 1 through 6. And
6 being the best, or
the ones are the best. Ones are the people that I will definitely call back. 2s are good, and I'll call them back. 3 and 4 are kind of in the maybe zones, and then 5 is like they were good and they had no material, but they just weren't right for the role. And I put them in 5, and then in 6 I put all the people that just I couldn't consider because they didn't have. Some people like they submit, they have no resume, they have no reel, and I'm like just a headshot, and it's not even it's like a photograph, the regular photograph. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help me.
Professionally done.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be somewhat professional for me to consider.
Something that really bothers me as someone who's cast movies as well is how inefficient the system is.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of wasted effort by a lot of well-intentioned people that I will do whatever I can to avoid it and being involved in it. And we'll get submissions in Minnesota. It's like dozen or 2 dozen would be good for us. So like hearing 800 is like, ugh.
Oh God, I got 1,500 for one role in one thing that I helped somebody cast. I was like, and this is like low paid or unpaid stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the competition is a lot. It's a lot of people. I mean, but a lot of those people, as I said, a lot of those people they're not submitting properly. That's why I think if you're gonna submit, read.
I do that in Film Freeway sometimes. Like I'll just see how many things I can submit to that are no entry fee. And, and then like I'll read second, like, well, let me submit because just look on the side category. I know that's against what you just said.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever done that? You said in a way that maybe
no. Well,
I wonder if she's done that.
So film festivals is all like.
Let's
like
have the pivot.
There's the tiers of like what you want to submit to because you're like, okay, it's a Sundance or it's a Slam Dance or it's a TIFF or it's a Tribeca or it's one of the big ones. South by is one that I've always wanted to be in. That's one of my goals is to be in there. Beyond that, and then there's like second tier kind of ones that are mid-level that are good to be in, and that's. But after a while, like I see, like because I went around to a lot of web fests, and like some of them are great, some of them are really great, and I recommend them to people. But some I felt like it was just a point of like people collecting laurels after a while.
Uh-huh.
So like people can sort of paper their website with like a bunch of laurels, and like I was in over 36 festivals with the Tech Buddies webisodes, and like some of these festivals, most of them are great, but some of them I was like, why did this didn't like it? Like it didn't even really happen. They just sent me like laurels and said, and I was like, is there an event? Like what? So, yeah, it becomes kind of a racket somewhat after.
No, and like what are festivals leading to? Is because we don't have the indie we had an indie market in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So you could take your film to festivals and then get it to play around the country because some buyer would see it at a festival, but like that thing.
Sad thing is Miramax used to be really a big proponent of that. Mm-hmm. And then of course Weinstein. Yeah.
Well, could that be done again without the
Without that
abusing
element?
women? Yeah.
No, I mean
sure.
certainly. Go ahead.
I mean, it could be done again, right? I don't know if it's gonna be done here in Minnesota, though. I don't know.
Ooh, see, like I'm the positive person on the podcast, and the other Farx Brothers are negative. Can you believe that? Why are you laughing so hard? Stop laughing so hard, Mary.
I'll stop laughing.
You don't have to.
It's really rude, Cal.
It's funny that she doesn't find me to be a positive person. I mean, I'm not.
I think you're a positive person. You're both positive people.
Kirk is
Yeah.
not. Well, we
A
don't
little
feel
bit on
positive a
the-
lot.
yeah.
We were talking about cynicism after we wrapped
breakfast.
with you last night.
I think, honestly, I think right now the industry is in big flux because I think that the strikes and the potential strike that got averted of IATSE,
Yeah.
I think that scared the industry. I think the fact that the streamers, other than Netflix, have really had a hard time figuring out how to monetize.
Yeah.
Which I just going to point out because Showtime was profitable.
Yeah.
And I worked for them, and they were a good app, and I think efficiently run and well run. They haven't figured out like what they're spending on that side of it and how to make a profit as well. And so the content focus seems to be now on safe bets. That's why that like heavily dependent on IP and franchises and all of that. But I think that's going to backfire. And I think it's going to work for a bit, but then I think that people are going to be like, want new stuff, want new faces, want new stories, want new things. And like, I think this is where the indie market can really come in and like, be rule breakers, because that's our job. Our job is to break the rules.
What are the rules? No one told me there would be rules.
There are rules like,
What are the rules? Come back on Wednesday as movie betters with the Farx Brothers continue their interview with Mary.